Dear chess friends, welcome again to my YouTube channel. 2 weeks ago I released my Benko database, and I have to admit it was pretty successful. As I promised in my video on this YouTube channel, well, in case it will be well accepted, I promised to publish also 2 very important anti-Benko variations. I also got a lot of questions about these lines, probably those people who have not watched full video, so I asked, what about these lines? And indeed, it's hard to talk about full Benko repertoire without coverage of 2 major anti-Benko lines. So before we move to the material itself, I would like to remind you, it would be great if you can subscribe, like this video, hit notification button in order not to miss my future work. And sometimes it's very important, you know, maybe after 1 week people are already familiar with my ideas. Meanwhile, you can score some points, and of course every comment is appreciated. I try to respond to every comment. I also get some new ideas from these comments, and it's all helps my YouTube channel to grow, like you know how the algorithms work. So finally, let's go to the 2 anti-Benko lines, which are very, very important. So first, we start with the line where white do not play c4, just play second move knight f3. And for a long time, I used to think that it's basically kind of like, well, white just avoids Benko. So we cannot play Benko, we cannot play c5, d5, b5 idea because it's considered to be slightly dubious. And then we have to play different openings, so that was one of the big issues for Benko players. So you have to switch to Slav or any other opening you like. Good news, we can play c5. Now d5, I'm not talking about moves like e3, c3, that's pretty harmless. Like I think it's easily workable with the good lines for black. You know, it should be not a problem. Of course, d5 critical, and good news, this system that I even used to play it many years ago, but then I got crushed badly in one game and I realized it's probably dubious system. But now it seems with the new theory, it's always evolves. We have to follow like new developments. Once again, it's in good shape for black. So main move, bishop g5. Always consider bishop g5. Now, I will cover also 3 alternatives. I would like to mention that e4, it's pretty thematic in this type of positions. There is similar idea in Blumenfeld gambit. So e4 sacrifice, we have to accept because there is bishop b5 threat as well as e5. We have to accept bishop d3 where white plays for development. It goes without saying that bishop b5 is not the idea because after queen a5 we actually win material. It's rather playing for development. Bishop d3, we have to give check, queen a5, knight d2, we go knight f6, castle, c4, bishop e4, d6, very sharp, complicated line. There are some correspondence games. Very important to know how to play accurately here for black. Like if you do this, we get very double-edged, complicated play, and good news, we complete development, we are fine. We are not getting stuck in the center with the king on 8. So this is one line. Now, and the main line, as I mentioned, bishop g5, and now there were different moves. I remember playing knight e4, doesn't work really well in my opinion, so we just play g6. So easy to remember, just g6, bishop g7. The main line will be bishop f6, although in my file you'll find coverage of 4 alternatives to bishop f6. I don't think anything is especially dangerous here. I think mainly bishop f6 is a like slightly annoying line, but I think I have you covered here. So we play ef6, e4, very important attack. It comes with the tempo. b5 is under attack now. It's used to be before, now a6, very important move. A6 now forces white to play, like that's a main strategical idea, a4, targeting b5 pawn, forcing b4 basically, and then white knights eventually arrives to c4 square. So white can start bishop d3, d6, knight d2, bishop g7, and then let's say knight c4, castle, castle. So it's pretty clear for black in this position that we are looking for f5 break, so we need to find good version to do this. So we start with bishop b7. It's already basically like f5 in the air, and it seems like we eventually get in this. Like in every line we get this, we open dark square bishop, leads to double edge play. Now probably the most critical a5, and then very important subtle move, rook a7, in order to avoid fork with knight b6, and then f5 is coming. Basically like almost every move f5 is coming. Now another idea could be to relocate, to play bishop c8 and rook e7. So rook a7 is nice multi-purpose move. Overall, black is doing fine. I didn't find any problems here, and that's really great news for the Benko players. And it would be good. It might be good. Not only, well, this opening, it might be not only complimentary for Benko players. This is must, but some guys can try this as a independent line. Let's say, I don't know, you're a Benoni player or something, like c5, d5, b5, or try c5 even if you like Queen's Indian player. So like a separate system could be a solid choice, could be a surprise weapon. So this is line number one. Let's talk about line number two, which is actually a line that goes d4, knight f6, c4, c5, knight f3. And from the start, I would like to mention, once again, very important line for Benko players. They have to know what to do, no questions about. But it could be also independent line. And now, like how independent line, you don't play Benko, but if you, for instance, play this variation, knight f3, or it could be first move c4 the same, knight f3, c5, c4, knight f6. So let's say you play this English opening, like you play like this, symmetrical c4, c5, and of course you play this move order, you have to be ready for d4. And now maybe you play knight c6 here, how about you play e5? Very much in the spirit of the Benko, so because there is a pawn sacrifice coming here. So we'll get back to the right, this move order, like once again, d4, knight f6, c4, c5, and now d5, b5, we get Benko, knight f3, avoids Benko, but we have in our pocket another sacrifice, which is actually very, very attractive, e5. Now, the only challenging move is knight b5. I covered, for the record, 3 alternatives, knight c2, knight f3, knight b3, but knight b5, without any questions, it's the only challenging move. Black play is very easy after any other move. Now we play d5. cd5 has to be played, otherwise black is better, and bishop c5. So that's kind of like a starting position of this variation. Probably there is a name. To be honest, like I haven't researched this. I'm pretty sure about that. Like I'm very curious. Maybe you can leave the comment with the name of this variation. Very rich play for black, and in general, very interesting double-edged middle game. I would like to mention that the main line probably considered to be knight 5 c3. We play castle, and now two major lines. Number one is g3, with idea to obviously fianchetto, and bishop on g2 is good. Now, but here, relatively new idea to strike right away with knight g4, targeting f2, e3, f5. And it's, I mean, very exciting. It's very exciting position. Like, let's say if he plays h3, we don't really sacrifice. We just come back knight f6, and then e4 is coming. So a lot of compensation here with stuff like this happening. Obviously, knight is heading to e5. Very, very rich compensation here in this position. So this is one. And overall, white top choice is e3. Now, and I think e4 is well known, but again, latest trend. It's not that it's happened like in the recent years, but it's already played quite a lot. Bishop f5. So we want first bishop f5, knight d7, and then depends on the situation, we'll adjust whether we play e4 or maybe we play knight b6 targeting pawn d5. So give you the main line, which is like kind of like very exciting. A3, knight d7, knight d2. So it looks like kind of like a flexible idea for white. White can play b4, if necessary, followed by bishop b2, and now bishop d4. It's really amazing move. Temporary sacrifice. It's to be honest, guys. It's not even a piece sacrifice, because it's like we get piece back thanks to the rook a8 followed by d3 threat. So and plus, of course, we have a massive development advantage. White has to be very, very careful here. So the only game here went knight b1, and then black just played bishop b6. So the benefiting, like improving the bishop, because bishop on c5 gets under b4, improving the bishop. Bishop e2, probably knight d2 is a better move, which has coverage, but this is what happened in the game. And now we switch to e4, knight d2, knight e5. The game went knight c4. I think maybe castle is a better move, but already black position seems to me somewhat better. Knight c4, capture, rook c8, another tempo, attacking bishop on c4. So bishop e2, queen d6, followed by rook d8 if necessary. But it's not only about that we get pawn on d5. We also have, thanks to the pawn e4 and massive space gains on the king side. So there is no knight on f3. There are not so many defenders. We can get bishop c7, h5. Very, very exciting variation. Overall, I was quite happy how the current theory situation in both of these lines. I think you will be very, very glad to see my material. Now, guys, as always, you probably know, and by the way, you'll find everything in the description. If you're interested to download PGM, please head over to my website, ask-Avrukh.com, where you can download in two different versions. Like you can download, or you can watch on my site. And if not, guys, you got very nice ideas from kind of like strong opening experts. So then you already have directions. You can develop your own site, and hopefully it was helpful, and it will be I think it works in both cases. So I really appreciate. Thanks for watching, guys, and hopefully to see you soon.